Hello, everybody, and welcome. So happy to have you all here with me today. And I want to give a nice warm welcome to those of you that are joining me live, as well as those of you that are going to join us on the replay. So really excited to have you. And I am super excited to have the one and only awesome Jackie Kirshen. So welcome, Jackie. I'm so happy to have you back.
Thank you. It feels like it's been forever, so I'm excited to be back.
I know. Well, I'm really psyched about our conversation today. Last time we talked on the Facebook Live show, there were so many questions that came in and so much interaction. I wanted to do it again. You have a wealth of knowledge to share, and you've been incredibly successful in your practice. So just want to welcome you. So, all right, guys. So let me give you just a really, really quick overview on today's topic. So we are going to focus specifically on how to create a simple sales funnel to fill your group program. So we'll be sharing lots of stuff in between, but that is really the core of our topic today. And, really the reason I chose this topic is because it really can be overwhelming to so many of us to figure out how to go about enticing your audience to sign up for group programs, right? So if you're like most practitioners out there, you've likely heard all about, the excitement around leverage and passive income. You should be creating some group programs just to enable you to serve more people and to create a new revenue stream. But as we all know, this can often be easier said than done, right? So the reality is that it can be challenging to fill your programs without a rock solid strategy. So that is what we're going to cover today. So again, I'm really happy to have my wonderful rock star client, Jackie Kirshen from San Diego, California, and really psyched. So let me give you a few bullet points on what we're going to cover specifically. So we're going to talk about some simple steps that are going to enable you to create your irresistible online program, a program that clients actually want. We'll touch on your easy 4-step sales funnel to create that pent-up demand, and ultimately that's going to help you to fill your program. We're going to touch on how to create the right lead magnet for your practice. And we'll actually going to touch a little bit on how to decide on a webinar as well. We'll touch on how to optimize different branding elements on your opt-in pages, really to ensure, consistency in terms of branding across all of your different pages and website and things like that. And we're also, I know it's a lot, I want to touch on how Jackie, her secret sauce for using Instagram to grow her audience and to fill her group program. So it is a tall order, but I think we can do it. So let's kick things off. Jackie, tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, so for those of you that don't know me, again, I'm Jackie. I'm a registered dietitian and nutritionist, and I specialize in mindful eating and sustainable weight loss. You'll find me on Instagram and TikTok at The Mindful Nutritionist. So I kept things very clear to who I am and making sure my messaging was all across. But I started out as a bariatric dietitian and always had the hopes of opening my private practice. And when everything went telehealth and COVID, that was a time when I was like, oh, this is so much fun. I'm in my yoga pants and I'm doing all my patients from home. And then seeing 16 patients a day, just back to back to back, and working for someone else, it was like 2 months, and I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. So That's when I was like, I could be doing this for myself. I set this up for my surgeon. Why am I not doing this for myself? So I was like, this is the perfect time. So that is when I did some research and reached out to Lesli, and we started working together in September. And I went part-time, training a new dietitian to take over for me. And then, within 2 weeks, I was like, okay, I'm ready to quit. Like, it was.
That's the best story.
I remember I remember texting you being like, I can't do this anymore. Like, this is so much better. Like, I need to. So I'm happy that I was slow to, I waited it out until January. Again, I was part-time. I was working 2 days a week. So it was really nothing. I was just making sure the other dietitian was set up. And then the last day of January was my last day. February 1st, I was solo entrepreneur. So it was a quick start, but it was something that, I mean, I'm so grateful and fortunate, but I learned a lot and I hit the ground running. And after September, October, November, December, after 4 months of doing just private, that's when I decided to start going into group. So, and I'll never turn back. So I'm so glad.
I love that. That's such a great story because, yeah, I mean, it just went really fast for you, right? You came to me in September with a dream, right? Like, I want a life, right? I want to be able to do this on my own. You were working for a bariatric surgeon, right? And really help build his practice. And you were like, why can't I do this on my own? I think I can. And that's when we connected and got you set up with the right strategies to make that happen, which was just an absolute delight. So we're going to share some of those steps with the audience today in terms of how you were able to really get things kicked off. So why don't we start the conversation right there? Let's just jump right in. What would you say, Jackie? What were like maybe the first 1 or 2 strategies that you implemented initially in your business building process that helped you? Because I know you had tremendous success right out of the gate, like 30K. If I remember correctly, it was close to 30K in 3 months. So what would you say the top, maybe 1 or 2 strategies were that you implemented to help get you that first rush of clients?
Well, the first thing that we did, and I remember I was pretty weary of going onto social media because I was still working part-time. And that's something that some people are like, oh, I don't care. Like I have, nothing to lose. But I was very close with my surgeon. And again, as you said, I helped him grow his practice by doing all social media and all this. So it just didn't feel right for me. And I wanted to wait until there was a clean transition. So September 16th, we started. November 16th was my first social media post. So for the first entire month, I did not tell anybody socially. I used the friends and family strategy, which again, I was a little nervous when you were starting to tell me about. I was like, wait, just calling my friends and family and telling them what? But as we talked about on the last live, I am very fortunate that I have a very big network of well-connected people here in San Diego. I'm grateful. My dad is a very successful surgeon and knows a lot of doctors and people in the medical realm. And there's a big Jewish community that I'm a part of. And you tell one Jewish person and then it goes to the rest of the community. So it was really
viral.
Viral. So, and especially, so when you asked me about to think and just do a brain dump and, I looked at my wedding list and I looked at all these people and I thought about the people that really love and care about me and that would want to help spread the word that I have my private practice and that this is what I'm doing, especially mid-pandemic when everyone was talking about how can I stay healthy? How can I maintain my weight or lose the weight and things like that? So it was really the perfect time for me to launch. So for the first 30 days, that's what I did. I started by calling a few people a day. Again, I ended up with my goal of 7 people a day. And that was just what I did. And instead of sending out a cold email, which I know I wanted to do in the beginning, and you justly and nicely told me that's not how it works. I called.
I'm not going to do the trick.
No, well, I'm so grateful because not only it gave me the opportunity to catch up with people, but that warm touch was super important. And that's when people started spreading the word. And then off the bat, just other people telling other people, that's how I got my first few clients. And we were playing around with my prices and I was getting used to, the sales, the discovery call and things like that. So it was a perfect first step of dipping my toes. And I got quite a few clients right off the bat just from friends and family. So that was the first strategy. And then the second strategy, of course, has been social media, which has been very powerful. It comes with lots of pros and cons. So you have to definitely have a strategy going into it. And I'm really happy at the way that we set it up, because for a month, essentially, I said, I don't want to do social media. And then it wasn't, 2 months, September, October, November.
Right.
I didn't do anything for 2 months. I didn't even think about that. I remember I was on my 1 year anniversary, and we had a call, and I said, I'm ready. Like, I built up the confidence. We talked about, my posting strategy and this and that. And that's when I decided to turn my personal Instagram into my business one, because I wasn't going to start over from scratch. And then that's when we decided I was going to have fun on TikTok, which has been incredible. I'm at like over 20,000 followers, and I have probably most of my group members from Instagram and TikTok. So social media has been that thing that just kind of made me skyrocket.
Yeah. The thing that I want everyone to note here is that first rush of clients, and that, essentially that first, I'd say 25,000 that Jackie made in her practice, she did it without social media. I think that's a really important point. It's when we added social media to the mix a little bit later that things even grew more. So just to be clear, like I always love to share with people, you don't have to start with social media. There's low-hanging fruit literally in your own backyard that we can leverage before we go crazy on social media. So, and Jackie is such a great example of that. So, all right. So basically what we did when we built your practice, Jackie, is we started by focusing on like I teach the prosperity pyramid, right? That concept called the prosperity pyramid. Some of you that have been following my work, it probably is going to ring a bell, right? So that what we did in Jackie's business is we focused on that top end of the prosperity pyramid, the one-to-one clients, right? Enrolling clients into that like higher end program or package, because that's really, it takes one person to say yes, and you can really drive results. You don't need a gigantic list. Like it's simple in many respects, right? And so that's where we focused. And then, so what I want to segue into now, Jackie, is a conversation around, what led to deciding to build out those other levels within that prosperity pyramid, right? Like the group program, and also we want to talk about the free lead magnet and things like that, and that really helped you to build your list. But what led you to decide to add this new revenue stream in terms of the group program?
Yeah, it's really funny because it started out with, again, a conversation from my friends and family. Someone connected me to somebody who was a bar instructor, and I thought that was the perfect person to collaborate because she had her own community, and thinking about women who are doing, virtual bar classes, like I'm sure that they have nutrition questions, or that they're either struggling with their weight or their body or food and whatever it was. So I had a conversation with her, and she had her own cohort, and I was like, this light bulb went off when I was talking to her. I was like, oh my God, like if I can get her clients to work with me and then I do something for her. And again, that collaboration, like I came in to do a nutrition talk for her, and I was like, this is perfect. And that's when I like texted you, or I forgot what it was. I was like, I need a group. Like I need to do something with this. Like I have a pool of people that probably need me. So that's when I started building it out, and really before just like whipping it up out of like thin air, that's when we talked about, okay, like what do people want? Because you could totally think that people want something and it could be so far from the truth, or you can want something because you want to do it, but no one else cares about it. So
such a good point.
So that was, I mean, again, I had an idea of having so many of these discovery call and conversations and things like that. So what I did before building out my group program was I kind of put out there in different mom Facebook groups and asking other people, like, would you be willing to hop on the phone with me for a few minutes that I can ask you questions about what are you struggling with? So when we talked about building my group, that's when, I had this idea of like, oh, this big group for everybody. You're like, no, we have to like men or women, this or that. So that's when we kind of combed out the kinks. And that's when I decided, okay, this is geared for women, probably mothers or mothers to be, people within that like 30 to 50 range. So I had a bunch of conversations with these women in San Diego and outside of San Diego, and really came up with this idea. So again, I'm the mindful nutritionist, and I was thinking like, what can I do? I do mindful weight loss, and how do I create this like group program? So this boot camp is what I came up with. So that's how the mindful weight loss boot camp was born. And kind of try different things of like thinking about the modules. And I thought it was really important that since I spoke to the bar instructor, I wanted to make sure I included her and again, have that collaboration. So that's when I decided to include 3 bonus exercise classes. So I had her as one, I had someone else. And that's another way that I can not only have a group program that sets me apart by having nutrition and exercise and bonus and, things like that, but also collaborating with other people that if I have them teach, and again, opening my audience to them, they're having me teach their audience. And then I get exposure to their audience, again, trying to think about those warm leads. They're already paying that person. So if they see me that I've been invited, they'll trust and, hear me out a bit more. So that's really how it was born. And so I had my lead magnet, and that was super important. That was one of the first things that we worked on when I started going into social media. So 5 easy steps to lose the first 5 pounds. You asked me a few questions, and I thought about my personal weight loss journey and like, what are some big things? So that's where we came up with 5 steps and how to make it catchy. And again, I originally had it as how to lose the 5 easy steps to lose the last 5 pounds. And then I wake up to an email at like, God knows what time from like, I've been thinking we should, that's the type of coach Leslie is, that like, she's having a dream about my lead magnet being like,
it's true.
That. And
I woke up in the middle of the night and I'm like, wait, we need to change the title of this.
I'm so grateful because you asked me that question of like, do you want people at the end of your journey? I'm like, no. So we want the people at the beginning. And then it was just so brilliant. So that lead magnet, I put so much time, and that's when I was figuring out Canva and ConvertKit and this and that. But I am so proud to say I have over 4,500 people on my email list. I have
oh my God, amazing
convert rate for that lead magnet. And I honestly, like, who wouldn't want to download 5 easy steps to lose your first 5 pounds? Like, it was just so. Yeah.
And all we did was change. All I suggested was one word. Right. Yeah. Like, if you really think about it, like, I mean, we talked through what would be a good, like make for a good lead magnet, but we started with five easy steps to lose your last 5 pounds. And my epiphany in the middle of the night was, wait, we need to change it to 5 easy steps to lose your first 5 pounds, so that Jackie could, work with people, much earlier in their journey. Right. Like, most people, like, they're nowhere near that last 5 pounds. They're like, way, way before that. So I am so proud of you and so excited that you have an email list of 4,500 people. That is amazing.
Thank you. It's been incredible. So good. Yeah. And to see also like the conversion rates, like I'm doing my free webinar for this is my 4th group, and I already have a 59% conversion rate for that landing page. And like, again, that's me taking the time to build my audience and that trust and things like that. So TikTok has been huge for me because I've had a few videos that, again, woke up to, 20,000, over 20,000 followers is like, I never would have dreamed. And Instagram, like 2,400, 25, something like that. But again, I have people that email me back from my emails, or I have people that are DMing me and I have conversations. And even this morning, I had someone reach out to me and just say, like, I just want to tell you, like, I love how I message every single person that follows me and say, like, hey, in their name, how are you doing? Thanks for the follow. Like, I connect with them because, again, I can have followers, but if I don't know who my followers are, I don't know what they want. So a lot of the people are like, they're either sketched out, they're like, is that the real person? But most of the time they're like, hi, like, are you messaging me? I'm like, yeah, like, what do you want to see? What do you want to learn? So I've
good.
A lot of people sign up for my group program just from having conversations. And then I post something on my story and then they've already spoken to me. And then they're like, hey, can you tell me a little bit more? And that's how they sign up.
So good. All right. So I have a couple questions. So let's go back to the creation of this group program, because honestly, that is where I see a lot of people getting stuck. What I see happening is so many of my audience, so many of my clients get stuck in, creating the modules, creating the perfect program before they even try to fill it. So tell us a little bit about, how did you come up? I know you did market research, like you did amazing. You went out there and you interviewed people, right? And you got really clear on, what they're looking for versus what you, Jackie, which probably might have been similar, but you got validation. You validated your idea, right? In terms of like doing market research and actually talking to people in your target audience. When it came to fleshing out like the modules and the content, just tell us a little bit about how you did that and, like how much time you spent on that.
I mean, it was crazy. I created this group like within 2 weeks. Like I was like, Leslie, I need a group in like January. Like, oh my God. Like I kind of wish I did it a little slower, but again, imperfect action is way better than not.
It's way better.
So yeah,
okay.
The thing that I did was the interviews and the research, and I got a lot of information from people of what they were struggling with. And that's what I used, again, everyone's pain points and what am I addressing? So I built the program. It's a 9-week program, 6 nutrition sessions and modules with me, and then 3 are the bonus exercise. And I know a lot of people are asking about, did I pay? No, I did not. We both exchanged just our services. So I went to teach a nutrition class for her bar class and her cohort, and then she taught a bar class for mine. So everything, I did not pay 1 cent for someone to come teach in my program. And again, she had exposure, and then she had the ability to hopefully get someone to sign up. So I really, when I thought about what are the 6 nutrition modules for me, I thought from beginning and kind of like my lead magnet, like the 5 easy steps to lose the first 5 pounds, like what are the things that I'm talking about and elaborate more in there. So I talk from the basic of like, before even getting into nutrition, like I need to teach people like, what is mindful eating? Like, what is the concept of it? What are the practices? What are the things that we're going to be working on? And why is this not a diet and this and that? So that was super important in talking about metabolism before. Again, I know people want recipes and they just want to get straight into it. I'm like, no, we need to talk about what we're going to do and what are these simple practices. And then week 2 is Nutrition 101. Without counting your macros. So again, I teach them the way that I counsel my clients to build a healthy, balanced plate and go through different meals. And again, how to incorporate, why do we need protein? Why do we need fiber? Why do we need healthy fat? What are these things? So a part of my modules, I have beautiful PowerPoints, but also I have great handouts. So that's super important to me that I am giving them so much value. And it was a lot of work in the beginning, but now I haven't done one thing for this group because it's already done. So
it's rinse and repeat, right?
Exactly. I mean, I definitely have tweaked things, and that's the beauty of it, like updating something or changing something. But that's the beauty that like I knew I was building it, and I was building it as I was doing it. It was not perfect. I had things that were not even ready before. So again, I was still working through because I was getting a lot of feedback. I wanted to, again, talk about things that my group members wanted to talk about. So that's how I even changed my last module after the first group, because I got an idea of what, so it goes from learning what mindful weight loss is and, how to boost your metabolism, nutrition 101. Then we have a exercise, the bar class. Then I go into breakfast and snacks, lunch and dinner, another exercise component. I have a strength training, a personal trainer that comes, or also a yoga Pilates instructor. So I'm incorporating all those different exercises. And then I go into dessert and alcohol and so many different things that are, again, big topics. And then I ask myself, what do these women want? They want a bunch of recipes. They get over like 250 recipes. Again, this is just personally like my stuff, and I put it together, make it look all pretty, rinse and repeat. Different meal ideas when dining out. That's a big popular one. I went through Kava and McDonald's and Chipotle. And these are the things that people want. They said, like, I don't know what to eat when I go to these places. I'm like, let me break it down for you and give them options, but show them confidently, like, why. I don't want to enable my clients and just tell them these things. Like, I want to tell them why. So that's why I start with that first module, like mindful weight loss, and building each session builds upon each other. And then the last one, I don't even remember what the last one was. Oh, it was all about exercise. And then we started talking about plateaus. And that's when, literally in the middle of it, I was like, I need to change this to like how to get through a plateau. So I
love that.
Like, absolutely. So it was evolving as I went through. But again, as I had my PowerPoint done, my handouts, all I had to do was update, tweak, and now it's all ready. And now I do it every month.
So good. So, okay, there's so many pearls and all that you just shared. I do want to emphasize a couple things. Again, you listen to your audience, right? And that is, I cannot emphasize that enough, guys. Like, we think we have the most brilliant ideas, and quite often they are brilliant, right? But if your audience, if it's not what they want, or it's not what they think they need, you're going to be all by yourself. So that's number one. Number two, and I know I share this quite frequently, but if I were to pick one strategy that is absolutely catapulted both of my businesses when I had my nutrition practice, as well as the work I'm doing now as a business coach and mentor, hands down, it's collaborations. Okay, guys. And Jackie, like, that is what got this, that was the impetus for this group program, right? She saw an opportunity to collaborate. So very important. And she approached it with curiosity, right? She was like, she had an idea, but she was open to an exchange of ideas, right? To make it a win-win for the bar instructor as well as for herself. So key. And then I would say the third big takeaway that I want to emphasize here, guys, she didn't overthink her program, right? Like, she didn't overthink it. And again, that's where I see a lot of people getting stuck. It's kind of unfathomable to even think that you would try to enroll people into a program before you have it all figured out. But that's exactly what we're suggesting, right? Because what I see is, again, people overthinking the content portion, and they never get anyone enrolled, right? And so you don't want to do that. That's it's actually the opposite, because you guys know this stuff. And if you try to like anticipate every single thing, you're gonna like Jackie, right? She was nimble. She had this program figured out, but then she realized, OMG, there's this topic of like, how do you manage plateaus? So she was able to be flexible enough in her approach where she could weave that in, which actually brings me to one other takeaway here that I want to emphasize when it comes to launching programs. What my recommendation is to do it live the first at least couple of times. And I know Jackie can speak to that. And part of the reason is because, well, number one, you want to make sure that you've got something that people actually want and are going to buy, right? If you spend tons of time recording it, getting it all perfect, putting it on Teachable or Kajabi or whatever, only to find out that it's not exactly what your audience wants, that's a real bummer. You don't want that. I've seen that happen way too many times. So do it. I recommend you do it live at least 2 to 3 times, really fine tune it. And then, if everything looks good, then, we can talk about moving it to like either a, full evergreen type program, or, having like evergreen modules and a live group coaching component. So with that being said, tell us a little bit, Jackie, about where you are with the evergreen thought process. And maybe explain a little bit for those people that don't know what I mean. Okay. Actually, there is a question. Is this an evergreen? Is this an evergreen program, or do you run it with a live group?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's definitely something we talked about. Do I do evergreen or do I do it live? And I'm really happy that just exactly what you said. We said, okay, let's do it live 2 to 3 times. I'm actually moving into my 4th planning to do it live, but it is something now. So evergreen being, again, it's something that is just modules that are on the computer. There's no live component, or like what you said, where it's the modules and then there's a group coaching session once a week, once a month, whatever it is. So right now it's completely live. I actually have it in Practice Better for the first time. So the first 2 groups were not in Practice Better. And again, that was a lot of work because I had to, attach the handouts and then resend it and remind them. So once I got set up into Practice Better, moved all my clients, that's when I was like, okay, I need to run my program through here. So again, my virtual assistant, my intern, she just, make sure everything is good. So it's less work for me and it's more automated. So I feel comfortable. I at least want to do this June 29th, starting it with at least doing it live. And then I'm going to think about, okay, am I going to do evergreen? I personally don't feel comfortable having everything evergreen. I will probably take bits and pieces of the Mindful Weight Loss Bootcamp and create a low ticket offer, making that evergreen. But for the pricing of what my group is, I wouldn't pay if it was just evergreen hundreds of dollars. So I think it's super important to have that live component. And also, I'm not tooting my own horn, but people are buying this for me. They're buying this to have these conversations with me. And like, I am the product. So it's super important that I have that personal connection. And that's why during my application process, I don't have people sign up and pay. That is super important that I have a conversation with them. I've had conversations and I was like, yeah, no, this person's not a good fit for me. So that is super important too, especially with social media. And again, people downloading my free guide and then coming here and then they apply. And like, I'm really glad I have that barrier, because either they won't pay or they're not a good fit. So it's super important that I can determine that on a quick phone call, 20 minutes. So yeah, definitely I would suggest, and I'm really happy that I've done it live, because again, it's once a week. It's an hour of my time. And now that everything is done, even last night, we had our bar class last night, and like, I got to like take a break. I did a bar class and it's a part of my group, and I got paid for the 7 women that are in it, So it was like, it's been really nice. But I would definitely am planning maybe after this 4th group to not make it completely evergreen. That's maybe down the road, having an option in my product suite, but definitely for the next step, turning it evergreen with live coaching call components.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's make sure that we talk about the exact steps in your funnel. Okay. So that's, so let's just like completely flesh it out step by step. All right. So what are those steps for you?
Yeah. So the first thing is my lead magnet. Was that the first thing to get people onto my email list? And again, introducing myself and sending my weekly emails. So I always try to make sure that, people are in my community already. And then for the first, second, and then this fourth group, the third group, I did not do a webinar just because people knew what it was and I filled it really easily without any marketing, which was really cool. But so at least for the first group, so what we did was I created a free webinar, and that was going to lead to, at the end is when I would announce, the opening of the Mindful Weight Loss Bootcamp. That was really awesome because I had a lot of people come. And again, I talked about kind of snippets of what I'd be going over and the things, what are people struggling with? So we talked about like, what are those 3 lessons I'm going to teach? And you kind of counseled me through how to do that free webinar. And then I opened the doors. And then I had people applying. So I gave myself a little bit of leeway. I gave myself about 3 weeks for the enrollment process. Some people think that's too long. Some people for me, it was my first group. So I was like, I didn't feel comfortable opening it for a week with, and then it was funny because a lot of people signed up at the end, when there's like last call. So also a part of that, we had early bird enrollment, which is super important. And that is something that I made sure, like, what is the number that I want people to pay? And then we tacked on like $200. And again, like if you apply by this, or if you enroll by this date, you save $200. So again, makes it kind of like an irresistible offer in a sense. And then, so they come to the free webinar, and then that's when I have my marketing, and my marketing was very consistent. I had all my stories, and I was really good about which days I would be posting and things like that. I would go live on my story and at least show my face and talk about it. And I feel like that's when I do that. That's when a lot of people are like, hey, can you tell me more about your program? Instead of just like, as pretty as my Canva graphics are, like you can't beat you being the one and people seeing you. So that is what, and then again, last day for early bird enrollment. And then I closed the doors, and each round I was shooting for about 7 to 8. And I've got that every single time.
Which is amazing. So does everybody see how there are different, very strategic steps involved in getting from basically people not knowing her all the way to the point of, oh my God, I want whatever she puts out there. Sign me up, right? So it's a very strategic process. And we worked really a lot kind of in the background before she even put out her first program to grow her email list. And, doing that, getting in front of your audience for free, like offering them something really juicy for free. In this case, the ebook and also the webinar, that is incredibly important. So all of those strategies and tactics are, we really want to map those out so that you can leverage and get people excited, build up that demand so that people want whatever it is you're offering. And I did want to answer a couple questions. So this is a great question. Do you include any one-to-one coaching in your program?
Yeah, so that was something that a part of, again, we had different layers for incentives. So I had the 3 bonus exercise sessions. I had the early bird enrollment. And then another thing that we added was also the first 5 people get a free session, a one-on-one session with me. So that was, again, lots of different opportunities for bonuses. And so that is something that I did do with 5 out of the 8 women that signed up, and actually ended up doing it with like 6 of them. Because again, I care about who I'm working with. So it was important to me. So it's just, an hour of my time. I went for a walk, I talked to them and this and that. So it was definitely super valuable to say, hey, you're going to get a free one-on-one session. And something that you also talked to me about, since I did have a longer runway, like a 3-week leeway into, you always said, okay, well, you don't want buyer's remorse. If someone buys something December 1st and it doesn't start till January 1st, like what are they going to do? They have my onboarding handouts, but again, need that reason to still stay enticed. So that was a big thing that I set up that free initial consultation before, and that's usually about 2 weeks before we started. So again, I could give them those tips and get to know them and things before they even got started. So that is the only one-on-one coaching that I offer in the group. And again, the whole purpose of me moving to a group program, because my one-on-one grew so quickly and I was getting so burnt out and I was so overwhelmed. And even though I was making, quite a lot of money, I was just like, I can't keep taking one-on-one clients. I think we said I would hit 20. And that's when I would go to group, and I was like 33 or something like that. I was like, okay, yeah. I need a group now. Like, I can't do this anymore. So that is when I did one-on-one to answer this question, one-on-one weight loss. And then I moved into group program. I did it for at least 3 to 4 months before we even touched on starting a group program. So that was super important, but including that one-to-one free bonus, that 3 different bonuses that I offered was super important. Again, how to entice people to sign up.
Right. And hey, Carrie, how are you? Yeah. So just to be clear, Carrie, she did, just like I teach all of my clients, listen, unless you come to the table with an audience, right, an email list or this amazing collaboration opportunity, I always recommend we start at the top of that profit pyramid, right, which is your one-to-one, your high-end individual, like platinum level, VIP level, one-to-one programs. Right. And then simultaneously behind the scenes, we are working on free, right? We want to build out your email list via something really juicy that's free, something they can download in exchange for their name and email, right? So we're building out the top layer and the bottom layer of that profit pyramid. Once we start getting traction in both of those areas, then we go, okay, the world is our oyster, right? What do we want to build out next? And I'll tell you what, guys, what I'm seeing work really well is kind of this hybrid approach that Jackie is taking, right? It's there's a lot of hand-holding in her group program. People really seem willing to sign up, right, and invest at that level. And I'm seeing those types of program work really well. The other thing I want to point out that I am seeing work very well is what Jackie did in terms of enrolling clients into her program. So instead of having people sign up directly from a sales page, like, don't we wish it were that easy? But the reality is, you know what, guys, even if it was that easy, like Jackie had mentioned, she wants to make sure that the right people are signing up for this group because it's an intimate group. And she wants the dynamics, right? The group dynamics to be rock solid. And in order to do that, instead of on the sales page saying, here, click here, grab your spot, sign up, right? Pay here. She's saying, click here to apply for your spot. So that is a really important distinction. And what this enables you to do is, well, basically you talk to everyone, which I think really increases the propensity for them to sign up, right? Because they get that one-to-one attention. It also allows you to charge a higher price, I believe, right? If you are trying to sell anything from a sales page that's, I would say, more than a few $100, maybe 500 max, it's going to be pretty challenging, right? They are going to want to talk to you. So that's really important as well. Okay. So hopefully that helps. But again, we start with the one-on-one and then we build out from there once we start to get some nice traction. Oh, and what does Jackie charge for this program?
Yeah.
What is that magic price point?
We started, again, you asked, like, what do I want people to pay? And that was the early bird pricing. And then we added on to, again, this is the full pricing, but if you pay. So for the first round, I did $797. So I priced it as $997. And then I took $200 off for $797. And then for the next group, that's when I was like, I'm adding $100 because I should be charging a lot more for what I'm giving. But again,
Right.
this is a part of me building that. And again, this is going to help me turn it into an evergreen. So in the end, I am winning because I have all of this content and all of this stuff that I can create different products and different sales offers and things like that. So now it is $897 and it's priced at $1,097, but with early bird pricing, it comes down to $897. So, and I still include the free one-on-one for the first 5 people that sign up. And again, I say it's true. It's a $397 value for a free session, for an hour session with me and things like that. So, and then the bonus exercise is worth $300. And again, for a 9-week program, about $900 for what they're getting is, I mean, I think that's fair. I remember talking about, the value is definitely at least $2,000, $2,500.
Yeah.
However, I know that my 4-figure one-on-one coaching, I wanted a completely far away offer. So the people that couldn't afford my one-on-one private, they could afford this. And I do have payment plans too, which is helpful for, because again, a lot of these people are just finding me through social media and things like that. So I know that everyone has different, financial abilities and things like that. So I make sure that I have 2 payments, 3 payments, 4 payments, so everyone can be included. So
important. Guys, you got to have a payment plan. There's just no way around it, right? It is absolutely going to increase your enrollments without a doubt. So Jackie, what is your grand total in terms of courses, your group program?
My group program, so far I am at 19,811.
I love it.
It's kind of crazy.
So incredible.
I haven't looked at it now, so that's great for
$20,000. Okay. Like if you did the math, like divided that out by the hour, it would be pretty incredible. Right. And guys, that is why, okay. So it's not all about money. It's about serving more people. Clearly, some clients, they love being in a group. They thrive in a group. It gives you the opportunity to offer a variety in your practice, which I think is huge because one-on-one is awesome. Absolutely incredible. It can be exhausting though. We all know that. So adding some variety into your day, and especially in a format like this, where you're able to serve more people, you get some variety. And when you do the math, you end up really making a lot more in any given hour as compared to one-to-one, even in the program and package model. So that's pretty incredible. So guys, I do want to remind everyone, I think I mentioned this last week, but just in case, I have a newly updated ebook. So make sure you grab it. It's, I put the URL on the screen. It's leslibitel.com/7 mega mistakes. And what this ebook is, it's actually, the full title is 7 mega mistakes to avoid in creating and selling your online course. So it goes through a lot of game-changing different strategies, not only what to avoid, but also what to do instead that really works. So it can really help you to increase your confidence in your ability to create and sell lucrative classes, workshops, and products. So make sure you grab that. And you can just grab it at that URL, leslibitel.com/7 mega mistakes. All right. So Jackie, what are your final words of wisdom?
Definitely to stay open-minded. It's something that I know probably everyone on here is a type A perfectionist like me as well, as all dietitians are. So it was really hard for me to come to terms with like my group wasn't ready. It wasn't perfect, but I did it anyways. And I could continue to work on it as I was building it out. So to have that open mind, it's a lot of work in the beginning, but it is totally going to pay off because now with my group, again, it's in practice better now. All I do is just show up for the live call. Someone asked, do I offer any support between group meetings? So yeah, another big thing that I didn't mention, all of the other perks. So initially, other than the recordings and the handouts and the recipes and the live sessions and all the bonus things, I also offered a private Facebook community, but I quickly learned that it was a lot for me and nobody really used it. So for me, I have a lot of personal connection with my clients. So I created a WhatsApp group, and that has been a huge game changer because, again, all of the women are posting their pictures of their exercise or their meals, or they ask me questions. And again, it's something I offer my private clients. So I was like, how can I condense it instead of like one-on-one texting? How can I put them, again, keep them in this group? So I have a WhatsApp group, which is huge because people are like, oh my God, I'm at Target, Jackie. Like, I found the Bonza. Like, it's, again, it's to me every day, but it's not a lot of work for me because it's all in the group. And again, I am really big about reusing things. So that is a lot of excellent marketing and content. That's how I didn't even do any marketing for my third group, just by posting screenshots of conversations from the women in the group and things like that. So it gives me a lot of content to post on my social media. So that is something that the weekly in between the weekly sessions, I am there for my group program. Anytime, it goes straight to my phone, just like my private clients. So the WhatsApp group, or now I have WhatsApp and I have the option of Practice Better. So it kind of depends like where they are, but it's been really huge because, again, that's that one-on-one attention. They're paying $900. They want me.
They do.
So that's something that I could give them a bunch of recipes and things like that, and then just one session a week. But to have that, I always, in my call with them, I talk about, you know, the magic happens in between the sessions, kind of like with, you know, working with a coach. Like Lesli, like, helped me in our hour, which ended up being 2 hours most of the time, conversations.
Right.
And then gratefully, thank you. And then, but my magic happened, my work happened in between our sessions. And when I would text her like, hey, what about this? Or like, celebrate those wins. And that was a big part of my coaching experience. So I wanted to take that into what I do. And I think that sets me apart. If you guys want to use that, totally go ahead. But I think it sets me apart from other dietitians that I have this personalized one-on-one attention via a WhatsApp group, where, again, I am the one seeing these messages and responding to them because I'm already doing it with my private clients. How could I take my group and then still have a group and condense them? And again, I don't have the notifications. I just see the little red on my WhatsApp and I respond when I can. So it's a win-win situation. And it's something that they have questions on a Thursday when our session is on Tuesday, I answer it. Like, they don't have to wait a whole week. So again, that's that high touch that I'm offering, where it's not a lot of work for me.
And this is what garners a higher price point.
Yeah.
Guys, this is the difference between, you know, a 6-week evergreen online kind of course and $1,000 group program, $1,000 and higher. Actually, I think we'll have to talk about that. I think it's time to bump that price point up. We'll save that for another conversation, but hopefully that makes sense. So like people, like I always say, the more personalized and the more contact the people in the group have with you, the practitioner, the higher the price point, right? And so that's why, like a pure evergreen online course where there's really no contact with you as the provider, like that is going to be a much, much lower price point, right? So
I know, even just from myself, I have, gosh, if I look at how much money I've spent on evergreen courses, it's so sad.
Right.
And how many have I started and completed?
I'm right with you. I'm so with you. And I think after a while, people just, you know, they're like, you know what, I time out. Like, I'm not going to do that anymore. Oh my God, I'd have to count. Like, there's so many things that I've signed up for, and you go in with this enthusiasm, and then it's like you do one module and then move on to the next thing. So I think,
that's why I wanted private coaching for myself, because I knew I would do better like that. So that's why I thought, how can I make this a hybrid where it's a group program? People can afford this price. It's a small, intimate. That's something else that we really promoted. It's not like you're going to a Weight Watchers meeting or you're on Beachbody with 200 other people. It's 7 to 8 women. It's very intimate. I know everything about every single person. They do weekly check-in forms. Again, I want to know what's going on. I have a lot of touch points that, people are asking about that. So that was, again, why I can charge, which I should charge more, I know, but so, yeah, and
we'll talk.
This is the progression, but I felt super comfortable after that first round being like, Lesli, I need a charge. And I wanted to do 1,000, and you're like, hey, hold on, we need to have that. Because again, that number is like 1,000 versus the 897 or the 997, that makes a big difference. So, but I can't
psychologically, especially, right?
Especially for a 9-week program, it sounded really good. 900 for 9 weeks. That sounded very doable for what they're getting and the value and one-on-one. So I've been toying around with like other ways I include food journaling, daily food journaling with my private clients. And then I have to keep reminding myself, like, no, this is, if you want that attention, you got to pay this price. But so I'm trying to make sure that these are 2 separate programs that I offer, because if they were too similar, then there would be a little like, what's the difference?
Lines, like the boundaries would be really blurred, and it wouldn't be fair, right, to your private clients, because they're paying for like that extra layer of service. So yes, that's super important. I'm so happy for you and absolutely delighted. Guys, I hope this was helpful for you all as you consider your next move in your private practice. So definitely want to just remind you again, grab this ebook. It's completely updated. I think you'll get a ton out of it. LesliBitel.com/7 mega mistakes. So so thank you again. Thanks, big warm thank you to Jackie. It's always so much fun to connect. And I'm sure all of you in the audience appreciate her enthusiasm, and really happy about her success. So, all right, guys, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, a wonderful week. And thanks again, Jackie.
Thank you.
I'll see you guys next time. Bye for now.